Okay, I'm gonna show containers in the product as soon as I find the right screen to share. Um, so uh, the caveat here is this is running on a branch where I combined about 8 different PRs. So if it blows up, apologies, I think it'll work. And these PRs are all landing later today. So this has a feature flag turned on for container editing, and you'll see there's like some funny things happening here, like this blank square, because that's a container I put on here before I showed this. So if I click containers here, this will eventually basically replace charts. But I get sort of a sort of classic design layout here where I have all my assets. One thing that will come fairly shortly is zooming, so you can actually see the whole dashboard zoomed in. That lets me kind of like, I can actually like float over and find all the things that are in here. Be like, oh, I want this one. I'm going to go back to 100% because there's some little caveats of zooming. But if I click this guy, it's going to be a jerk to me. Oh, that's right. I can actually get a hold of it and see the settings on the container that this chart is sitting inside of, or I can click the chart itself and see sort of chart details. This is going to get replaced with our edit chart screen. We're just still plumbing things together. But the important bit here is I can actually start tweaking things at a higher level. So I can switch this from tile to transparent, kind of like we're used to today. We will eventually support custom presets, and you can do more stuff. You can also overlay on top of the preset with things like I want more padding. Gap will be relevant here in a second. If I go over to this empty container over here, it's really boring because there's nothing inside of it. And so if we look at the code for it, right now there's empty children here. What I can do is go to each of these things I want to put inside there and just steal this little blob of JSON. We will have accelerators. I will show that in a second. But since I did that and don't want to make you watch me copy and paste a whole bunch of stuff, I can just do this. And you'll see I've got 2 charts and a markdown tile all sitting inside one container. I can go in here and I can like make it transparent or no style, which basically rips all the padding off. I can also go back to tile for our standard look, and I can push the gaps way up if I want bigger gaps between things or bigger paddings. So I get more and more control over all the style, and we'll be opening up lots more options here. I can also flip the direction of this. Doesn't work great when it's with text tiles right now because they don't really have a great imbued width. So we'll see what happens here, but we'll try it. Okay, so this is not really the effect I want because markdown tile grows. So what we actually want you to do is tell us how wide you want that one to be, and that's something we're going to be solving today, actually. But there's 1, 2, 3. The better way to see that is actually I can hover over them and say 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's turn out my padding to not be terrible. So they said a little better. Best thing I can do here is just go ahead and tear out that markdown tile because it doesn't like us right now. So that's one thing we found is there. We've got 2 next to each other. That actually looks kind of rational. A lot of folks have wanted to put KPIs tightly stacked. And again, I can zoom in a little bit here to let you know. I can do fit. And you can see they're sitting next to each other. And I can still do stuff like I'd like a proper gap and some proper padding. So for KPIs, this would be really nice. Or you can nest containers and put a filter above inside this. That's something we'll show shortly. But right now we're dealing with sort of these, how you deal with style. Few things to know. We're doing some trickery here. If you look in the sidebar here, this is making a best effort to order things the way they are in the grid, but grids don't really order great in a single dimension list, so top to bottom. So if I move this guy down here, and accelerate my dictionary, we don't move them while you're looking at it, but if I hit reload, you'll see a kind of shuffle around to try and keep things roughly in the order they're in here. So yeah, I'm sure I'm not talking about a bunch of stuff. One thing you can do is like see the filters up here. If you have hidden filters, they'll just be kept over here, or controls, and we're going to combine them. They'll be over here in the asset library, so you can pull forward hidden filters, stuff like that. And you can add new containers. We'll do a lot more on that as we build. Um, I hope I'm not forgetting anything in this piece. So this is all almost in the product. Behind the feature flag we'll be giving to very limited internal use early next week, as well as a couple, at least 1 or 2 customers to play with, get feedback on, and then we'll be iterating pretty fast. I'm going to try jumping branches, and we're going to see how my machine likes it. This may go poorly. That always happens. That's because I jumped branches under the hood. All that code pasting is really annoying. So we want to make sure that we give folks nice accelerators. So eventually this will always be here because we think we want to offer lots of flexibility and you'll be able to write logic against this. But what you really want is buttons. So we're going to offer things like remove container or move container. This will show you an ordered list. It will also eventually just let you drag and drop around over here. We're going to do accelerators like this first because that's the same logic drag and drop's going to use, and then we'll actually later on drag and drop. So yeah, this should be available early next week as well. It sort of works. I'm going to click this button and you're going to watch things explode in hilarious ways. But like if I do this and click that, it does this container not found thing because it didn't actually remember to kill the tile in the grid, but it did kill the container. So we're like halfway there. And that'll ship actually working early next week, if not over the weekend. So yeah, lots of container stuff. Lots to go, but we're going as fast. We're going very quickly on this stuff. The one bit that's probably the biggest caveat why we're not going to open it up today to everybody is that we're still dealing with like sizing things inside of these. I plan to solve that today, but that's sort of the biggest annoyance of using it right now is that charts don't have imbued size, so we need to fix that. Sorry for the long demo.